Are you feeling down, dry, or depleted? Do you get sick? Do you want to know what are the best ways for you to naturally heal yourself? Do you want to get inspired today? Well, if you do answer this, I'm very excited. Today is Survivor Sunday, and our episode is Conversations of Hope, a cancer survivor story. If you don't know me yet, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Wanda Kalupig. I am 2023 top 15 LinkedIn expert in Dubai and 2021 number one most influential Filipino on LinkedIn. Every week, I go live on Cancer Conversations podcast because the goal is to share inspiring stories and, of course, insightful information so you can help people who's navigating the complex journey of cancer. If you want to watch our previous episodes, please do watch them. And of course, I want to thank you for joining us live. If you do have any questions, George and I will be more than very happy to answer that. Type in the questions. We are live now on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And later we'll have this podcast live on YouTube also. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me just flash and review the last few episodes that we had. So if you do want to watch that, please do. Our first episode is an interview with the first Emirati UAE national breast cancer surgeon, Dr. Huria. We spoke all about breast cancer, how to prevent, detect, and cure breast cancer. What I learned from here is that women specifically needs to have screening to prevent, detect, and cure cancer early because breast cancer is the number one cause of sickness and cancer for women, but it's also the most curable cancer. So have yourself checked, and make sure that you're getting yourself healthy, specifically for women 40 and above. Please go to Linktree Coach Wanda to get access to the recording. Also, on the last second episode that we had, I had a very good interview also with an integrative doctor. For over 20 years, Dr. Romy helped patients heal from cancer. And George will touch upon today the same things that Dr. Romy shared on how every person can responsibly take care of their own health journey and the ability to heal themselves with the right mind, right food. Again, go to Linktree Coach Wanda if you wanna learn more and watch that recording. And one of the episodes, my favorite episodes also, is an interview with one of my staff, Rose. She is a cancer caregiver. For the last 8 years, the husband has been suffering with cancer, but together you're able to make it through stronger together. If you want to know how to navigate the emotional journey of cancer, please do watch the episode. And the last week episode also is a very, very powerful one. Coach LJ, she always teaches about how healing can come from joy and how our negative emotions are the ones that making us sick. Towards the end of the interview, she shared simple tips and tools so you can overcome fear, you can overcome anxiety. So please do watch that. Again, go to Linktree Coach Wanda. Before I bring George on stage, my special guest, I would like to also personally invite you. I have a soul branding workshop this coming Saturday, September 21, in partnership with Bailiwick Academy. The goal is to help you get into the core of your soul so you can authentically show up for who you are, share your experience and expertise, get seen, get heard, and get known. Of course, we'll teach you how can you craft your brand story, how can you discover your unique soul purpose in this world, and how can you express authenticity online and offline. Now, talking about authenticity, my guest before starting is like, Wanda, let's do it, but let's make it authentic and real. And I'm all about authenticity and being real. And I'm very, very happy because I found this person on LinkedIn. When I saw his post, I was like, wait, this is the right guest for our podcast because I know a lot of people are hopeless. A lot of people get sick a lot and they don't know what to do. But George is a living testament of what's possible in terms of happiness, health, and healing, specifically for those cancer patients. So let me give a brief introduction about George. Let me show you a picture also. You can see the journey of George. See, this is now George in 2024, 77 kilos. But before this, George had cancer at 31. He also had some brain injury, but he'll tell you more of the story later. But what I love about George, he's a true seeker, a true speaker by heart. He's dedicated to living authentically for healing, health, and joy. He's a self-employed consultant, a world traveler, a proud father of two, and a self-published author. He's also the founder of All Natural Health and Fitness Philosophy. Without further ado, let me bring George. Let me
Well,
unmute you, George.
there we
Okay,
go.
good.
Hi, how
George,
are
thank you
you?
so much. I know it's 11 p.m. in Australia. It's
It's,
5 p.m. in Dubai. And
wow,
it's
that's exciting. Well, I had a cold shower to wake up, so I'm full of energy. So I'm ready to go.
thank you, George. I mean, it means a lot that you're here today because a lot of people are losing hope. How can cancer treatments are very expensive. That's true. Cancer is something that's so common now. And I think you are a living testament of what's possible. Maybe, George, you can tell a bit of your story. What really happened to you?
Yeah. Okay. So we need to go back a few years before I was diagnosed with cancer. I went through a stage of life where, let's say, from age 29, I just wasn't enjoying life. A whole lot of reasons that happened. For the most part, I enjoyed life. I worked I earned a great income based on my effort, contributing to businesses and contributing to the success of others. And then I just fell into a way of living life that was just soul destroying for me. But I tolerated it. And after a while, for the first time ever, I experienced anxiety. Then I had depression. I reckon I had depression because one day I couldn't get out of bed. And I was like, what the hell's wrong with me? Come on, mate, get out of bed, get out of bed. Wash yourself. I'm washing myself. I'm driving to work and my body is doing this. It wants me to go home. But I persevered. And a few months later, I get told I had cancer. And and um and I was only 31 years old. My son, I think, was 3 months old. That was our first child, Stefan. And then we had Miki a couple of years later. But I really think that cancer for me was my body. Initially, it was saying anxiety, depression, and cancer. That's my body telling me, hey, bro, you're here to live a great life. You're sucking at life. And if anxiety and depression is not going to get you to change your life, I'm going to give you cancer. And it took cancer for me to look around and say, right, I want to be here, but I don't want to suck at life anymore. I'm going to create a life I love and I'm going to help my body heal. And that was the intention, but that was age 31. So it was a build up, right? For me, I think the cancer disease adaptation was me trying to live a life that I hated. I really truly hated it. I was just existing and pretending that I was okay with what I clearly was not okay with. But there's a really good point for me bringing this up because your body will not let you get away with being inauthentic. You'll experience some form of disease. And when we go through this interview, I mean, I'll talk to you. Not only do I have the physical stuff, I had to deal with a lot of trauma, from emotional, financial abuse, mental abuse from people that said they love me, but they didn't love me. They're just abusive people. And part of me dealing with that part of my life was also a huge part of my healing as well, right? And something I might bring up now is, and this is what came to my awareness from my experiences, yeah, that my body and your body, it's our vehicle to express life on this planet, right? And our body, nobody else has my fingerprint or my retina. Nobody has your fingerprint or your retina. We have brain cells in our gut, our heart, and our head. Our intuition is real. Our insight about what we truly want for us is real, and our body's always giving us this information. I started to listen to that. And when I started listening to that and making my own choices and acting on that, I got better. So we'll talk a bit about that through when we're talking about this. That you need to trust your instincts, you need to trust your intuition, and you need to pursue a life that really truly gives you meaning and joy. And do that, and guess what happens? You become smarter, stronger, more energized, happier, more joyful, more confident, more resilient, and your body starts to heal because the mind-body connection is real. And I'll just explain through before we get started. If we think about being, and this is the example I like to use because everyone can relate to this. If we think about being naked and intimate with someone we truly love, that
Hmm.
thought creates a chemical adaptation. Our hormones change, our brain chemistry changes, our heart rate goes up, and there's movement in the body. That's a really basic example of the mind body connection. You cannot fake life. if you're faking life, if you're lying, if you're manipulating, if you're trying to control another human being, or you're accepting that from others, you will experience a disease adaptation, whether it's energetic,
Mm.
emotional, mental, physical. You will experience a disease adaptation. It's only a matter of time. And the way you get away from that into a healing, health, and thriving adaptation is you deal with your life and you resolve that.
So, George, my take from this on what you said when you're diagnosed with cancer at 31, because you were, you're not okay with your life, but you're just, dealing with it as if it's okay. But then it's
I
like your
was,
mind, your body sabotage you that there has to be, an action to get your attention, and that got you cancer.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. Because so, do you want to talk a bit about the day that I found that I had cancer? Okay, so I mean, and the way it all found out, I didn't really have any symptoms, right? I just hated life. I felt
Mm.
horrible. I was experiencing anxiety. I definitely had depression, I reckon, because that's not being able to get out of bed. I had to talk myself out of bed. My body did not want to move. It's not that I didn't want to move. My body did not want me to get out of bed. And I had to tell
Mm.
myself, get up and have a shower, mate, get dressed, get in the car, go to work. But what was interesting though was, sorry, the lights have gone off. Do you want me to just move around, get them back on? Or can you see me? Is that, do you
Yeah,
want
I
me to
can
stand
see
up
you.
or
No
is it
problem.
better?
You can continue,
Okay.
George. We can see you.
Yeah, so my body was basically, as I'm driving to work, my body seriously wants me to turn the car around. And I know why. Because I was
Mm.
going to a place to work I didn't want to be at, surrounded by
Mm.
people that were very unsafe for me. They say they're good behaving humans, mate, but they were not, right? They were clearly not good behaving humans. I'm not going into that detail, but ultimately that was not the place for me. So I thought, right, I had this lump that just popped up under my jaw, the full length of my jaw.
Uh-huh.
Went and saw it. It was there for a while. Went and saw a GP. They gave me a month's worth of antibiotics, and it didn't do anything. So they thought we better get a biopsy. So we went to get the results of the biopsy, and I saw the doctor. My wife's with me. My son's 3 months old, and we're in the
Mm.
hospital, the doctor's GP office. He opened up the letter for the biopsy, and it was a tiny
Yeah.
little paragraph. Because you can see, when they've got the lights on, you can see through the transparency.
Uh-huh.
And he just kept staring at it, just kept staring at it for like minutes.
Mm.
And then there's a knock on the door. The nurse comes in. She goes, "Doctor, I think somebody's having a heart attack next door." And he looked at her and said, "You need to deal with that." And I thought,
Mm.
man, if you're passing up a heart attack for me, how bad is my thing? And then he said, "Look, you have follicular lymphoma." And I knew what that was because my ex-wife treated cancer for a living. But in that moment, what happened was my heart just squeezed in tight. The blood felt like it drained out of my body all the way down,
Uh-huh.
and my
Mm.
and my my sphincter tightened up, mate. That's just what happened. It just went tight. It's like, holy smoke. And remember those days when we had PowerPoints? It was like
Mhm.
PowerPoints, and all this happened in milliseconds, but for me, it felt slow motion. And a slide came
Mm.
up. Should I be sad? I don't like that. Should I be angry? I don't like that. Should I
Yeah.
be positive? Fix this? I like that. And I just looked
Mm.
at him and said, I know what this is. What can I do to fix this? And then I looked at my wife and went, it's all right, babe. I'm not going to die from this. I'm going to work out how to help my
Mm.
body heal. Then I set my intention to help my body heal. And that was the start of it. Fast forward a few months of them doing a whole lot of tests and everything else. They said you
Mhm.
basically have the cancer through your whole body, mate. The only place it hasn't touched is your bone marrow. And there's not much we can
Uh-huh.
do for you. I said, what about chemo? They said, well, chemo might do something. It might not. But it might do something
Mm.
for a day or a week or a year. We don't know. And then when it comes back after chemo, it's pretty aggressive. And there's not much we can do for you.
Mm.
And they also said to me, but we don't know if you have a day, a week, or a year left on the planet. And I just said,
Wow.
well, I'm not going to die from this. I'm going to work. I'm going to
Mm.
stay on. I want to stay on the planet. I'm going to work out how to help my body heal. And part of that process for me was, well, let me look around. Who's had cancer and survived it and still lives here? So I did my research and found two incredible humans,
Mhm.
Dr. 𝐆𝐔𝐄𝐒𝐓 and Petria King, right? And both of those two humans had very aggressive cancers like 30, 40 years ago. There was no option for that back
Mhm.
then, and they're still around today, cancer free. And so I went to both of their retreats, and what I took
Oh.
out of it was change your behavior, change your environment. I remember just thinking that.
Mm.
So I came back and I thought, right, I'm going to change my work environment. And because it was very toxic for me, right? I'm not saying that it was,
Mm.
for me, it's very destructive. So I left the
Yeah.
work environment and I took on a head of sales role, which I really wanted to do for a company. I wanted to be in a leadership role. And and then plus also I basically removed processed food, started to eat pretty much clean, real food and
Mm.
exercise every day and meditate. Started meditating as well. Now, those things combined, within 6 or 7 months of doing that and moving to this new environment, all the cancer in my neck and chest went away and the rest stopped
Wow.
growing for 7 years. It didn't budge for, I'm talking about golf ball size here,
Yeah.
gone, all gone. And the rest stopped growing for 7 years. Isn't that interesting? So, and that was the start of me thinking, wow, behavior change can create a healing adaptation from our body. Because my thing was, I was just strengthen my immune system. What can I do to
Mm.
strengthen my immune system? And as it
Yeah.
turns out, human beings, we're highly complicated, man. We can't just rely on eating fresh and moving our bodies. It doesn't just work like that. We need to surround ourselves by people who feel safe and loved, who embrace us authentically. We need to be showing
Mm.
a life that we actually find we want to get out of bed for every day, whatever that is for us. We need to be in an
True.
environment that we feel
Mm.
safe and energized in. All these things matter. We need to deal with the conflict in our life, which I didn't really learn that part till after the brain injury, that I have to deal with the conflict in my life.
Well, George, what I heard from here is that you had a cancer all over your body, and only the bone marrow is the one which is not affected. And
It hadn't
you're
affected
not
that yet.
it hasn't affected, right? You're not given any treatment, but it's the behavior change of, I'm gonna heal myself from this. And
Well,
I
yeah,
think what I heard,
yeah, sorry, go on, sorry. Keep going.
yeah,
Sorry.
so what I heard from you is about, making that decision that you're gonna not die from this, you're gonna heal your body, then you change your environment, you change your food, and then 6 to 7 months, it just went away. Now,
Well,
maybe I know
it
you
didn't just go
also
away.
had, yeah.
My immune system got rid of it, right? Because all cancer is
Mm.
irregular cells. Our immune
Oh,
system produces cells that get rid of those cells. So everything I did strengthened my immune system to remove those cancer cells, which it does every day anyway. There's cancer
yeah.
cells that just
True.
irregular cells. Our body's designed to get rid of them. All I focused on
Mm.
was strengthening my immune system to do its job.
Understood. Now, also, George, I understand you also had the brain injury. Now, how did having cancer and having brain injury, how did it shape your life on a different level?
Yeah, so that's really interesting, right? So I am just on that. So 7 years later, after all went away, stopped growing, I found myself in an environment which again became very destructive, right? And an environment
Mhm.
is toxic because of the behavior of the people. So the people's behavior that were in my environment then was not loving, kind. And once again, I felt unsafe, even though we're performing exceptionally well, everyone's doing a great job. I was surrounded by people I couldn't trust. And you can't be in that
Mhm.
environment. And I couldn't trust them because of their behavior, right? So what
Yeah.
happens? The cancer starts to grow. And then I thought, right, I'm going to quit that job. And I quit that job and focus on working out how to heal completely. So I decided to have a go at chemo. Now, this is very interesting, right? So
Mhm.
every time I got injected with chemotherapy, I told myself, this is healing liquid, washing the cancer out of my body, and I'm really grateful for that. And I just visualized it just rinsing the cancer out of my body. Now, initially, my treatment plan was 6 rounds. All the cancer
Mhm.
was gone after 3 rounds, right? All of it gone.
Wow.
And now there was a young guy, a guy about 5 years younger than me, the same cancer, same stage. He had 8 rounds of the same chemotherapy, and his cancer just kept growing all the way through. That's really
Mm.
interesting, right? So the way we choose to think about something and experience, because the chemotherapy kills everything. It's a toxic chemical
Mm.
poison that just destroys
Mm.
everything. But I chose to view it as something that was helpful for me. But the other thing I did was I did movement before my treatments and after my treatments to increase my body temperature, because an increase in temperature increases a chemical reaction, and chemotherapy is looking for that chemical reaction. So I
Mm.
recovered fully from the cancer, and I went, right, I'm going to go back. I'm not going to work for corporations anymore, because at that time my experience was they just weren't. Um, it didn't suit my love for the world and love for people. Right? I love people. I
Mm.
love the world. I like it, and I was at that time. I was just surrounded by people that just weren't loving. They say they're loving, but they're not. Right? So, because their behaviour was not loving at all. It was actually quite cruel and deceitful. So I went, right, I'll go back to consulting. Now, I'll go into consulting. But again, I had some personal things that went wrong. I was ripped off by someone in my new family, and that person put myself and my wife under extreme financial pressure. So I didn't want to do the job I was doing, but I was forced to because of money requirements. So So you saw the photo when I recovered from cancer. I was six pack, super strong, super healthy. And then, so I started working as a consultant, really loved the people I work with, but it's not what I really wanted to do. But I needed the money. And so 3 months into that, my arm just started trembling like that, like I had Parkinson's, my right hand. It just trembled. And I couldn't stop it trembling at all. Every day and night, it was just trembling. And then in the month of December 2014, I started to just, the middle of the day, I just have hallucinations. I've never been on drugs to hallucinate, but I imagine it'd be like that. Because I just start hallucinating in the middle of the day. And then the week before Christmas, I had a lot of problems controlling my limbs. So on the 24th of December 2014, I told my wife, hey, babe, look, I'm not going to stay here for Christmas. I'm not going to enjoy it. I can't even hold a fork or a glass to have a drink. You guys have fun with your family. I'm going to go to hospital to get for them to look up and see what's wrong with me. Come see me next week. It was Friday night. I went to hospital. There's something wrong with me. I don't know what it is. We checked me in. I woke up in May the next year. Now, I have some vague memories of a few days, but I woke up. So I went in 77 kilos of lean muscle. I wake up 35 kilos of skin and bone while some guy's changing my nappy, wiping my bum and changing my nappy. And I was in a padded bed. And I was like, I had no memory that I had a family. I had no recollection. I had no idea who I was. I had no idea where I was. And then, and then in August of that following year, I walked out of that hospital and I told myself I will make a full recovery. And I made a full recovery. So, and that was, I got to a point, I had no cognitive function. I couldn't count backwards from 10. I had no memory recall or retention. That's short term or long term. I'd lost complete control of my motor skills. And I had kept having like an epileptic fit every couple of minutes. I remember that every couple of minutes I just have an epileptic fit. And so, and then I'd be in and out. I'd wake up, go up, and then wake. It's like time travel. I'd wake up a month later, completely different environment, not knowing who I was, not knowing I had kids, not knowing anything. And that was, and so, and yeah, so that's, I mean, it's a long story how I started to get better from that. But walking out on August 2015 at the hospital, the neurologist looking after my case was Dr. Stephen Riddell. And I just asked him, said, mate, am I going to make full recovery? And he just paused. He couldn't believe where I was, right? And that from where I come from to there. And he just said, look, maybe 95% recovery. And in my mind, before I said anything, I just said, I will make a full recovery. And then I shook his hand, said, mate, thank you for everything you've done. I really appreciate it. I'm so grateful for everything you've done to get me to this point. I've got it from here. And I made a full recovery. Now, how I made that full recovery for me, a lot of it happened when I started doing long walks in nature and started doing strength movement in nature. So I started walking in nature because I just needed to reflect on life. I mean, there's a lot of betrayal that happened. My marriage ended. A lot of horrific things happened. And I just thought, I got to a point, can I just say on this, I got to a point where I was fat, alone, and disabled. I didn't want to be here anymore. I just didn't. And it's not, I wasn't depressed. I wasn't even suicidal. I just had enough. I had enough of the abuse. I had enough society's manipulation. I was getting it at work. I was getting it from my family, my ex-wife's family. It's just horrible. I was done with it. And then I thought, I want to go to another planet. Now, I know this in this ever-expanding universe, with these ever-expanding galaxies and planets, I'll go somewhere else. And then I honestly thought about, I was on Freshwater Beach, it was like midnight in Sydney. I thought about walking out in the water. I thought, you know what, I'm still disabled. I'm sure drowning's not a bad way to get out of this body. And I took a couple of steps towards the water, and then I stopped myself and said, you know what, no, screw this, man. I mean, I used some other words, but I basically said, screw this. I'm going to redo my life. I'm going to reset. I'm going to live life authentically. And you know what that did? that I stood up taller. I felt completely full of energy and joy,
Uh-huh.
and I felt motivated for life. And then I went home and started implementing my plan. And part of
Mm,
implementing my plan was calling out all the abusers in my life and the ones that ripped me off specifically, who still claim that they're innocent, even though they're clearly criminal behaving people. And I just said, mate,
mm,
you ripped me off, or forgive and pay me back, or I'll see you in court. You know, to the people that didn't support me, it's like, you were just abusive. It's horrible behavior. It's not love, but I forgive you and I wish you well, but we can't be friends anymore because that behavior is horrific for me. But I really wish you the best in life. Just don't come up to me like we're mates, because we're not mates. And then I
mm,
started to think, right, how do I want to pursue life now? And I started to pursue a life I really want to get out of bed for. And that included around friendships, around work, around my physical strength, everything. And the more I did that, I became smarter, more confident, stronger. My
mm.
energy came back, my joy came back. And here I am today. And I mean, there's a lot of
Wow.
horrific stuff. There's a lot of horrific stuff I had to deal with along that point. But my whole philosophy and the way I healed from everything, including the obesity experience and the heart disease experience, was that I focused on living life with truth, authenticity, being myself, speak my truth,
Mm,
make my own choices, guided by my heart, my soul, my intuition, my instinct, and take responsibility, full responsibility for my life. The life that I hated, I was responsible for, because I
mm,
was tolerating stuff and not speaking up. I was not doing the work to pursue a life I wanted. I was avoiding the conflict
mm.
that needed to happen. It doesn't have to be horrible or cruel, but it needed to be addressed. And when I started to express my life with those principles, I got better. My joy came back, my brain function came back, my immune system got stronger. And now I'll be 48 on the 30th this month. I'm the healthiest, strongest I've ever been, the most joyful, the most cognitive. I'm smarter than what I've ever been. And I was vegetated when I was 39. And now I'm consulting
Yeah.
to listed companies, you know. So, and again, this is not a miracle. This is the adaptation.
Mm,
What do they call it? Epigenetics. It's cell
yeah.
adaptation to behavior change. And the change of
Mm,
behavior, the new brain cells, the stronger immune system, the stronger bones and body, it only happens with effort. And you cannot outsource that effort to a chemical pill or a spiritual being or a coach or whatever. You've got to do the work, mate. You've got to take it and reflect internally and do the work. And also, for me, I can forgive a lot of people. But forgiveness for me is not to say what you did is all right. All it's basically saying
yeah.
is, hey, look, man, I'm not going to allow your cruel, disrespectful, abusive, and quite frankly, criminal behavior to affect my joy
Mm,
or my health. You know, but I'm
yeah.
also not going to tolerate going forward. Here's some feedback. Go change your life. Be a great man in your life, or a great woman, a great person in your life. And I wish you well. And then I learned from it. And here's the other thing, Wanda. The biggest
Yeah.
part of my healing also happened when I learned from my mistakes. You've got to learn from your experiences. I did a lot of internal reflection as to how badly I was living my life
Hmm.
across the way
George,
that I
I
was.
think, I know you have a lot to share, but at this point, I want to summarize. I think what I learned from you. See, at 31, you got cancer, 39, you got brain injury, but at
Yeah,
47, you are at the peak of your
yeah,
strongest, smartest version
yeah,
of yourself. And
massively
you
better than what I've
massively,
ever
right?
been. Yeah, but
And it's all
do you
about
know,
the decisions you took every day. You said, yeah, I'm gonna get healed. I'm walking in nature. That's healing. You talk
yeah, yeah.
about
So
visualization.
yeah. So if I can break it down for you, our body after age 30 starts to break down, right? Your muscle mass, my muscle mass, men and women, starts to break down after age 30. Muscle as an organ is quite important
Yeah.
for our immune system, for our mobility, our brain function, a
Mm.
whole lot, our blood sugar level, our heart health, the whole lot. So I did all the work first and I learned the science later. But building muscle, spending time in nature, removing processed foods, eating real food and stop snacking, starting to do fasting,
Mm.
meditation, all of these things
Yeah.
basically changed my genes, changed
Mm.
my cells. It strengthened my immune system. It rewired my brain. It completely changed my brain chemistry so that I'm very joyful, and very rarely do I feel anxious or sad. It just doesn't happen. And if it does,
Wow.
I think about what's causing this, and it's something I need to deal with. And the moment I deal with it, I feel amazing again. And my
Mm.
mind, everyone's got a mind and everyone's got mind chatter. when I take responsibility for my life and I learn my lesson from an experience and
Yeah.
change my behavior, my mind quietens. It calms down.
Mm.
If I'm avoiding taking responsibility, it's at me. It's like man, at me the whole time. You know, so
True,
it really
true.
is about it really is about expressing life with truth, authenticity, take responsibility. And by the way, I've had to reset my life like maybe 7 or 8 times the last couple of years. If things aren't
Mm.
working out, I hit the reset button. I sell everything that doesn't give me joy. I restart again. Right, that's not working for me. What can I start with now? We can all do it. And do you know what's
Yeah.
better than having to give away some money? Being around for
Uh-huh.
your kids, mate. Being around for your kids, right? So
True.
I'm starting from scratch again financially, but I'm starting smarter and better. My earning capacity is
Mm.
the best it's ever been. So even when we reset, you're never going backwards because you're
True.
consciously smarter and better, and more mature and stronger, more confident, more aware, more wise. You add more value, you get paid more money. That's how it works.
Mm.
So, but
True.
you can't, like, I choose to be here and I want to be here for my kids. I love life with my kids, and I actually love life with the people that I share life with on this planet. So I do the work so that my vehicle, my body, which is my unique way to experience life here, is strong, healthy, and disease free. And the best it can be energetically, cognitively, confidence wise, resilience, strength, a whole lot.
Hmm.
And keep
Now,
in mind,
George, I know you are also helping others in their journey to becoming healthier and happier and getting healed. Can you talk more? What inspired you? I mean, you all have this ideas how you're able to get healed through, you did walking, visualization, meditation, forgiveness. I think every tool you've used. Now, how did you get inspired to now help others? How did it start?
oh, look, for me, it was more around, I just thought I just wanted to share it with the world. You know, this is so basic behavior. It's accessible. You could be in a village in Africa or you could be in a huge
Mm.
city in Europe and you can get access to this. You don't really need anything, but all it is, I just thought, well, this is so powerful. But I started to share it because I'd met a few people before I started sharing it that asked me how I did
Yeah.
it. And I just shared the
Mm.
principles and they got positive results too. So I know this is universal. And in the last couple of years, I've been working with clients on this, and I've seen people turn their lives around from being completely broken to high performing, high joy, high health humans. So this works. And so I thought, I just want to share it with the world. You know, at the end of the day, everyone's responsible for their own health, and they're the ones that have to do the
Mm.
work. But if I've now, and part of my thing is, I like to see humanity do well, all of humanity. And because that's better for me, it's better for my children, it's better for our community. If everyone's healthy, strong, and joyful, you know, and it's just a better quality of life experience. So I wanted to share with everyone, and I started putting it out there, and I actually get a lot of joy out of this because, you know, what, the other day, one of the people that I'm working with now basically sent me a
Mm.
message saying thank you for saving my life. You know, now he was in a bad state a year ago, a really bad state. Interesting
Mm.
enough, right? And he actually said to me, I had all my bloods on checked. I said, you know, I know two people that are 50 and under that got told that in hospital. They both got up and both died instantly. One from a brain aneurysm, the other one had a cardiac arrest, you know, or some sort of
Mm.
heart failure thing. So when it's not true, mate, you cannot look the way you look and say you're healthy. It's not how it works, you know.
Yeah.
So but fast forward now, this person has great energy, great brain function, no more body pain, sleeps throughout the night, feels amazing every day, and he has young children, so he's going to be around for his kids. See how beautiful that is? So, yeah, part of it was for me that this really works. I wanted to share it with people,
Mm.
and because it works and it's easy, you can access it. Everyone can be authentic. Everyone can work with truth. Everyone can take responsibility for their life. Everyone can deal with the conflict in their life. Everyone can eat real food. You know, real food grows everywhere on the earth. Everyone can meditate, to learn to meditate. Everyone can fast. So everyone can do resistance movement. These are things that everyone can start to pursue a life they love. All I'm doing is sharing a framework that clearly works, mate. I had cancer, not curable by modern medicine. I had a brain injury, not curable by modern medicine. I was fat with
Mm.
cardiovascular disease, not curable by modern medicine. Do you know what cures all those things? Different behavior to create a different cell adaptation.
Now, George, we spoke about having the behavior. That is the most difficult part, right? And how to
Yeah,
be
it's not easy.
authentic. Maybe you can give some tips. How can I be authentic? How can I bring more joy to my life? Because I think, you've been through a lot of things which get made you sick. Now, a lot of people are sick now without understanding that whatever they do is connecting and affecting their body.
Oh yeah,
I
if you're
know
everything,
this mind
every
body connection is something maybe you can explain and how we can,
okay,
listen to our body.
yeah, okay. So here's the thing, right? Our intuition is we actually have brain cells in our gut, our heart, and our head, right? They're always and our body's a whole receptor. It's always giving us information. Do you know today, a friend of mine, Kat John, wrote a book. It's called Authentic, right? She's amazing. She's an authentic coach. She's amazing. I read her introduction and just hearing her story, I felt a change shift in my body. It was amazing. I felt tingles up and down my spine and I had an
Mm,
energy shift just by reading her story. Isn't that incredible? So we are feeling sensing beings. Our body is our receptor. It picks up on it, but it's also letting us know what's right for us. So if you're in a meeting and you know something needs to be said, you need to speak up because if you
mm,
don't, you'll be your mind and your body, it's your guts, everything's going to feel heavy the whole day. We need to express ourselves. You can't hold on to it. So I was watching a lot of things, tolerating abuse from people say they love me when clearly they're nasty, nasty people, right? Good humans don't behave like that. And I got better when I called people out. I said, look, and it feels uncomfortable. You know what? At the start, it felt uncomfortable. Now I feel comfortable saying it.
mm,
So I'll share with you a story, right? I'm part of a friend's poker game, and one of the lads was yelling at me and screaming. I was doing well. I get excited and screaming at me. And so I sat there
mm,
for a while and I thought, I don't like this, but I just stared at him for a while. I thought I'll give the call, see what happens. I sat down. A minute later, he's screaming again. And I just said, I won't use his name now just because I don't, I don't want it to be public who he is. But I said, mate, why are you so angry, man? Why are you so aggressive with us? You're so angry and aggressive. You're yelling at us. I don't come here to get yelled at. Why are you so
mm,
aggressive and angry with us? This is a safe space. Why don't you open up? We can help you with it. Now, do you know what that did? That made him, based in a polite way, said to him, this is unacceptable. You're bullying us. We don't like this. And if there's something you need to
mm,
get off your chest, let's talk about it together. So I never used to have that level of confidence to do that. But now I do
mm,
because I've realized if I felt uncomfortable the way he spoke to me. I didn't like it. Right. And I thought, well, I'm not going to tolerate this, but I'm going to wait for my window to bring this up. And my windows happened to turn up about 2 seconds after I sat down. So I kind of came up. But how do you do it? It's uncomfortable, but you need to
mm,
choose to do it. So here's what I've learned from my experiences. The things that will help us thrive in life initially will
mm,
feel uncomfortable. So we need to choose to be comfortable doing the uncomfortable. And that is a skill.
mm,
And this is how we
mm,
do that skill, right? Sit up straight, just quickly scan your body. What am I feeling? Oh, look, my heart rate's gone up. My hands are a bit sweaty. You know what this is doing? My body's preparing for this to be a great experience for me. And then I tell myself, I'm excited to resolve this. Then I look them in the
mm,
eye and I speak my truth and I don't sugarcoat it. So, the guy's name's John. John, you swore at me and you yelled at me in front of our colleagues in the meeting. Highly inappropriate, mate. It was embarrassing for me. And it's kind of bullying, This is your
mm,
chance now. Just apologize to me. Can we just reset, move forward differently? Because I didn't like that. I'm not like to stick around if you're going to behave like that. And that's how you do it. You just call
mm,
them out and you tell them exactly what it was they did, how it impacted you, and how you'd like them to change going forward. Now, here's the other thing. Your body's reaction to fear and excitement is exactly the same. So although conflict, you might feel scared, your mind doesn't know the difference, right? It's the same. So just tell yourself, wow, my body's actually priming for me to be ready for this, priming me to handle this challenge. It's getting ready. That's a good thing. Thank you, body. And then you tell yourself, I'm excited to resolve this. And guess what happens to your mind? It calms down. So all of a sudden you stand up straight, your mind's calm because it thinks you're excited. It
mm,
doesn't, no difference between fear and excitement in the body. It's a good thing for your body because your body's your friend and it's preparing you to handle this like a champion. And then you just do it. That's how you do it, Wanda. And that is the skill that I've been practicing for a long time. And now I'm very good at it.
wow, I think George, I think
But
the
it felt
ability
uncomfortable.
to
Sorry.
speak up.
Yeah, it
Speak
felt
up is
uncomfortable.
very difficult.
No, but you know what? You know what's more difficult? Getting anxiety, depression, cancer, and a brain injury. That's what's more difficult. And I got those things because I wasn't speaking up. And it just manifested over time and it compounded to something severe. And when I started speaking up, the anxiety, depression went away, the cancer went away, the brain injury went away. And I'm joyful and healthy today. So it matters. It actually matters. Because I can tell you what, there's nothing fun about having a guy wipe your ass when you're 39 and you're in nappies.
Mm,
You can't even remember you have kids. And if you have them, you can't even hold them. That's
true.
difficult. I'd rather have a
Yeah.
difficult conversation than go through that.
I think I love what you said that you need to be comfortable with the uncomfortable
Yeah,
because
and
I
that's a
also
skill.
learned, yeah, it's required. From the last podcast, I learned how every negative emotion gets stuck in our body, and that's the one making us sick. Now, if you feel, offended, then you have to speak your truth that you're offended, and then process those emotions. Because if you ignore it, then that's harmful to your body. As you said, speaking up is better than getting the brain injury or getting sick. Now, George, also, I mean, you've spoke about the mind, the body, and a lot of people also wrong us. But what I also learned personally, we have a lot of forgiveness issues on ourselves. Now, how do you deal? We are our own, say, worst enemy and best friend. Now, how
Yeah.
did you shift from becoming the best friend or the enemy to the best friend?
Yeah, easy. Well, easy. I say easy. It's a simple process, but it requires effort, right? So, I realized when I went back and thought, well, I'm not my experiences. I have experiences. I'm not my thoughts. I have thoughts. I'm not my behavior. I choose my behavior. I'm not my body. I have a body. I'm actually going to not judge
Mm,
myself. I'm going to learn from that. I'm not going to judge myself. I'm going to hit the reset button, work out what I could do differently, let it go, and move forward with the new behavior and the new way of thinking. That's how we heal. And I just think, you know what, man, I'm a human being. I make mistakes. I forgive myself. I'm not going to punish myself. I'm going to choose to learn from this and apply that lesson. That's how you do it. It's a process. And you got to talk yourself through it. And so now, and I have to go back and say, I did an interview the other day, and they asked me what something a mistake or something I feel like I regret. And I said, yeah, I made a mistake when I was younger in business, and I regret
mm,
that. But I've learned from that. I'm not going to punish myself for it. I'm a human being. I dealt with it, I
mm,
resolved it at the time, and I choose to learn from that and move forward, applying that lesson and sharing my story with others to help them. Because everyone's gone through stuff in life. That's life as a human being on planet Earth. But I share a lot of stuff because if someone can learn from my experience and avoid something traumatic, or if they go
mm,
through it, they've got some awareness of how to deal with it, that's a positive, right? So, but yeah, it always comes down to this. I'm here. Um, Everyone makes mistakes. And people that
mm,
tell me that I make mistakes, I know those people are either lying to me or they're not doing anything. Which one is it? Are you not trying anything or you're lying, mate? Because in the pursuit
mm,
of in the pursuit of living life, you're going to make mistakes. That's life as a human
true.
being. The main thing,
Mm-hmm.
how do you heal from that? You learn from it. You choose not to judge yourself. Learn from it. Let it go. Apply the lesson and keep moving forward. That's how you do it. That's how I did it, man. That's exactly how I did it. And that, by
I
the
think.
way, that alone
Mm,
has a healing effect on our joy and ourselves, our immune system, and our confidence and our peace of mind, our sleep, all that as well.
I think what I learned. Majority of people we're very hard on ourselves. I
Yeah.
mean, we're very kind to others. We're forgiving, but we never get the chance to really forgive ourselves. We have so much expectation of ourselves. But I think, as you rightly said, remember, you are not your thought. You have a thought. You
Yeah,
are
that's
not your
right.
experience. You have experience. Life is about making mistakes and growing and learning from that.
Oh, yeah. Do
Now,
you want to hear
George,
something? Sorry,
yeah,
can I share
I know
something?
you have a book. Can you share more about your book also? I want to learn more. You've shared so much today, but what can we get
Yeah.
from your book as well?
Okay, so I wrote all this stuff that I worked out. So everything I've learned is a process, right? Learning from
Yeah.
experiences, that's a process. How do you develop strength? That's a process. How do I
Mm,
deal with the trauma? That's a process. So I wrote it down in
yeah.
a book for everyone. So I'm like, this is very simple stuff that has a profound effect on our lives. So I wrote my story in the background, how it all happened, and then I put very clear instructions on what I did to build my body, what I did to rewire my brain, what I did to bring my joy back, how I deal with conflict. It's all in this book. So how do you reset? It tells you how to reset your life. So, but again, it's up to you to make the decisions. All I give is the framework. Be authentic. What does that mean? Speak your truth. Think about how
Mm,
you want to experience life and act on that. Ask your heart, what is it I truly want to do? Ask your intuition, what is it I need to learn here? What is it? What's the
mm,
lesson here that I need to pick up and apply to my next moment experience? And I put it all down there for people. So it's both, it talks about the behavioral side as well as how I
mhm.
basically what I changed in my life to create my healing and thriving adaptation.
Wow, George, I think this is good. A lot of people, they want a step-by-step guide, right? Because I
Yeah,
know
well,
in 1 hour we cannot cover everything, but here, if you covered how you change your behavior, how you manage your mind chatter, the process of how you become physically healthy, this is a very good book. So if you want to get the book, please go to www.allnaturalhealthfitnessphilosophy.com.au/shop. Also, you can go to George LinkedIn profile. It's available on your LinkedIn profile, right, George?
well, they can ask me for it. The book isn't. They can just send me a link, and then I can send me a message, and I can send you a link to the shop on the site.
Now, George, also, if I am just starting like today, maybe you can give us some tip. How do you start your day so you can have already joy? You always spoke about joy, authenticity. How can
Yeah,
you
yeah.
start your day with that?
Okay, so I work for myself at the moment. So I have a structured. I've got projects that I work forward. So every day for me is a progress day. I'm always moving forward. So, but I thought about this. I thought about my happiest day that I can remember on the planet, and I remember on that day I got up, went to uni, I worked, I went to the gym, and then I had a great event that night with my friends. That was a great day. So I learned something. I earned money. I developed my strength and my body, and that also develops my mental strength and emotional strength as well. And I had a great night with friends. So this is how I've been starting my days lately, and I've added a few things to my repertoire of things. So I get up in the morning, I do a round of breath work, then I have a cold shower, then I do movement, resistance movement. If I'm to do something at home, it's no more than 10 minutes to be honest. I usually do 6 sets, right? That's it. 6 sets is roughly 10 minutes.
Mm,
Then I go sit in a cafe, grab a coffee, read a chapter of a book. And at the moment, I'm reading my friend Kat John's book, Authentic. I highly recommend it. I've been fully immersed in this. It's a great read. I'm learning a lot. It's a beautiful, beautifully well-written book. If you want some help around life as well, Kat John's an amazing person. Have a look at her website, grab her book as well. And and that, by the way, it's like 8 o'clock now. And then at 8:30, I start my work day and I structure my day. I do take a break every hour and a half at most because I realize after that time, we need to reset our brain and our energy. So after no more than an hour and a half, I'll take a 5-10 minute break, go for a walk, maybe have another coffee, a glass of water, and then I hit the work again. So that's how I start my day. And then at the end of the day, I always make sure I do something fun with someone that I love. Or either I do in the morning. Lately, I've been having breakfast, my son and my daughter, in alternating mornings. That's been a lot of fun. Or I'll catch up with them after school, or I'll catch up with a friend. And I don't rush things one day. That's the other thing. For me, whether it takes 10 years um, or 20 years, it doesn't matter because if I do nothing, the same 10 years goes past. If I chip away at something, it's the same 10 years. So I always work at a pace that I enjoy. It's still challenging, but I enjoy it because that's my
mm,
most creative, most energized state. If I'm not enjoying it, I change something up. All right. Because part of the pure health adaptations, we actually enjoy life. We can enjoy a challenge. What we don't enjoy is burnout. That causes disease.
hmm. I
That's what I've
think
been starting.
you have a very
Sorry.
structured schedule, right? But what I love is, you incorporate relaxation, rest,
Yeah.
exercise. A lot of people think you need a lot of time to be fit, but you spoke about only 10 minutes. Is that true,
Yeah.
George?
I do like 10-minute sessions. I really do. Like at the end of the day, it's to build a strong body. And by the way, when you build muscle, you build your cardiovascular health as well, your aerobic health. So So I don't do more than 6 sets. That's it. Because for the
Wow.
reason I do that is 6 sets is optimal for me to get the best hormone response. Dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, hope molecules, testosterone. That's the best. So at the end of 6 sets, I don't feel tired. I feel energized. I feel happy. And I'm like, wow, my brain's working 100%. I'm ready to hit the day. That's all you need. And if I'm feeling a bit like I want to do some more in the middle of the day, I'll do another 10 minutes. At the end of the day, I might do another 10 minutes. 6 sets is not that long, mate. Squats, push-ups, back
Mhm.
rows, shoulder press, maybe deadlift and overhead press. That's 6 sets. If you do that sequentially, it's less than 4 or 5 minutes. But I like to have a break here and there, right? So, and that's all it takes. And if you're doing that every day, mate,
Yeah.
you create great. Look, see these results. That's like this there, which is not bad. That's a good size, right?
I wish
That's
to
like
have some muscles.
yeah, but but keep in mind that, and keep
Yeah.
in mind, on Friday last week, I put 400 kilos on the sled, right, which is the thing you push and
Wow.
pull, and I pushed
Mhm.
it and I pulled it comfortably. That's 400 kilos. So yeah, 10
Mhm.
minutes, 10-minute sessions a couple of times a day, or even if you do 10 minutes every day, over time, it adds up, man. It adds real strength.
Yeah, it's the little things that we do every day. Now, that's about your body. Now, if we want to reset our immune system, I know, George, you spoke about a 5-day thing that you need to do. Can you share
Fasting or
about that?
fasting. And this is all been proven. If you fast for 3 days at the 72 hours, at the 3 days, there's a reset of the immune system. There's stem cell reset. All these stem cells reset. That's pretty massive, right?
Mm.
Or they see stem cell production, which is basically new cells produced for that part. So I started fasting, I'd say about a year and a half ago. It's amazing. The longest fast I've done is 4 days. And when I fast, I make sure I have water with either sea salt or Himalayan salt in it. And I keep my fluids up throughout the day. And I'll have black coffee or black tea. But it's amazing for clarity thinking, for energy. I mean, in terms of you're trying to get lean, it leans up. Autophagy is triggered. Autophagy is our body's process of removing old damaged cells, replacing with new cells, right? All this stuff.
Mm.
Fasting does that. So if you think about cancer are irregular cells. If you're fasting, by the
Mm.
way, if you do prolonged fasting, like 3 to 5 days, your body thinks, wow, we're going into a time of scarcity. We better make this body strong. Then part of its job is to go around and remove anything that's a threat to the body. Cancer is a threat to the
Mm.
body. It will start to remove those threats. So all this stuff helps, right? It all friggin' helps. So, and my thing is this: just remember, I'm grateful for modern medicine. I'm alive today because of modern medicine. But modern
True.
medicine for chronic disease is not the answer. It's the bridge.
Mm.
It gets you from where you are to where you need to be. But that bridge is
Mm.
called behavior change. And modern medicine
Mm.
helps you out while you get there. But if it worked, people wouldn't be dying of cancer. People wouldn't die of heart disease. People wouldn't be anxious and depressed for fucking decades, which they are. It doesn't help. Change your life, mate. Change your life, change the adaptation from your cells. That's how it works.
Wow, that's good to hear. 10 minutes of exercise every day can definitely bring a lot of change.
Oh,
Having
yeah.
3 days of fasting, coffee, water, and tea. Now, George, are there any other tips? What's your best
Yeah.
advice to
Well, my best
people?
advice is this: life is an experience. Okay, so I'll just summarize this. Maybe I'll ask you some questions. It's better. Wanda, when you leave planet Earth, what are you going to take with you?
Nothing.
Thank you. Nothing. That's right. And what's the most valuable thing that you own when you're on planet Earth that you can share with people?
I think it's my experience. It's my knowledge. I mean, that's why I do this podcast because I want to share
I
with
love
people.
that. I love that. But what do you need to be able to share your knowledge? You need to be here. It's your time. So
True,
you take nothing with you, and time's the most valuable thing, right? Can you buy
true.
more time on the planet? Can you buy more
No,
time on the planet? Can you earn?
no.
Can you? I'm sorry. Can you be gifted it? No, a spiritual being won't give it to you. But I'm an example. You can earn more time on the planet and improve your quality of life. So I'll
Mm,
be 48. At the end of this month, I'll be 48. I'm the
wow.
best I've ever been, physically, emotionally, energetically, cognitively, mentally, the best I've ever been. And look at that. So a lot of people that I know are getting worse, man. I'm getting better. And I had
Mm,
a brain injury and I was fat. and I had cancer and I'm getting better. We can all do this.
Mm.
It's a human body adaptation, but it requires focused effort, right? And it's all the things that I was talking about. Okay, so take nothing with you. Time's the most valuable thing. What are the best things you can leave the people you love so that no matter what happens in their 100-year experience, they will always be okay? What is it? What can you leave them?
I think it's the legacy is how I raised my children. That's how I always put it that way.
Yeah,
My children are my greatest legacy, and how I spend time with them, of course, is what
that's
matters.
beautiful. Yeah, because it is. It's how you spend time with them. Because what matters, and I've noticed this, it's all these little moments you have throughout the day. The hug when they're sad, when they open up about something, you can really have a really good discussion about something that's challenging in life. That's the stuff that gets them through life, mate. And we have those moments all throughout the
Mm.
day. So just to summarize, you take nothing with you when you leave the planet. Time's the most
Yeah.
valuable thing. You can't buy, still be gifted, or pay for it, but you can earn it by your effort. And it's those little memories, those little daily memories. So don't
Mm.
compromise the memories and the time, and you take nothing with you. So whatever you think you're going to buy is that important, mate. It's not that important. What's important
Mm.
is just, oh, sorry, the other is, yeah, your time be there for others. But the one thing I'd say is there's no one else like you in existence. That's your superpower. Also, you can be the best version of yourself. You can't be the best version of me because I'm me. You're you. So why don't you do your best every day to express your life authentically? You'll feel more confident. You'll feel more energized. Your self-belief will increase, and you'll actually add joy to the world, mate. Because that you're a gift. No one else like you. You are the gift. So be you, and behave with truth. Just the last thing, you've got to behave with truth. I've seen a lot of like untruth happening in the world right now, especially Western society. I'm just going to say
Mm.
this: the truth is what's real, and what's real creates the adaptation. You can deny the truth, but the truth will still play out. So why don't you, if you don't like the truth, create a new truth by changing the way you
Mm.
think and behave. So
Yes.
that's it. That's what I say. Take responsibility for your life. It's your life. Make it work the way you want it to. Do the work to make it happen. Be authentic, and realize it's an experience. You take nothing with you. I have sold everything and started again, and life gets better every time. It gets more abundant, gets more joyful, it gets more energetic, and I love it. And you've got to you got to work it out yourself. We can't give you the answers, mate. You got to work this. You got to reflect internally and work it out yourself.
Wow, George, now I learned so much today. And I think this is the time to please invite people if they want to learn from you, work with you. I think it's always good to learn from people who have massive experience like yours, which is beyond books.
Yeah,
Right?
that's right.
Because
No, I
we really
agree.
walk
I
the
definitely
talk.
agree.
So please invite them, George, to whatever program you have. How can they reach you?
Yeah, so I've developed a program called the Champion Behavior Change Program. It's basically everything that I've learned to get me to where I am today. I've broken down into a very simple, structured approach. We start small and progressively add the knowledge and the wisdom over 6 months. So you're basically learning, growing, and doing at the same time, creating new neuron connections, creating the cell adaptation. Part of it is choosing to be comfortable doing the uncomfortable. All this stuff is in that program. If you're interested, reach it, either direct message me or get a hold of me through LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. Let's have a discussion. If you're happy to work together, I'm all open for it. You don't need special equipment. You don't need anything special supplements. You just need to take responsibility for your life and commit to changing your life and doing that work to do it. Because I don't do the work for you. That won't help you, and it will just irritate me if you're not doing the work and you're expecting me to do it for you. What I do is show you the framework and encourage you and support you through that process.
Thank you, George. This has been such a very lovely journey. If you are watching this live or on replay, this is George, and his story is so inspiring. Diagnosed with cancer at 31, had brain injury in his 30s,
39, 39, yeah,
39,
39
right?
brain injury, fat with
30,
heart disease
31
at 40.
cancer, 39 brain injury, but at 47, he's at the peak of his life. And,
Yeah,
doctors almost gave up on him, but it's about his intention to take care of his health, full
yeah, I
responsibility.
choose to be here. Yeah. But can I just say that? I choose to be here. I choose to be here for a long time, a healthy and strong and joyful time, and a thriving time, and an abundant time. And then I manifest through effort. Like
Hmm.
if you want to get look, if you want to get healthy, if you ate fresh whole foods, you stop snacking, and you do resistance movement and walking every day, you will get healthy over time. If you want to be wealthy, if you actually think to yourself, how do I earn more money, and I'll stop spending money on things that don't add to my wealth, you'll actually become wealthy over time. Everything, if you want a great relationship, if you nurture that relationship by being there for each other, supporting each other, being kind to each other, and actually helping each other out like a team, you'll actually have a great relationship. Everything is manifested through clear intention, focused behavior, and consistent effort. So, yeah, I clearly stated at every point, I will not die from cancer. I help my body heal. I will make a full recovery
Hmm.
from cancer. I'm not going to be fat anymore. I want to create a strong life experience. I'm going to create a life I love getting out of bed for every day that's abundant, thriving, and joyful. Now, I set intentions and I think, well, how am I going to get there? Think about it. Yeah, this will get me there. And then I'm consistent with that behavior until I get there. And it doesn't matter when you get there, because whether it takes a year or a day, if you do nothing, the same year or day will pass. So don't worry about how long it takes. Just go through your process and you
Great,
can do
George.
it. Can I leave everyone on
Anybody
one,
can do
one
it.
thing?
Yes,
Everyone can
yes,
do it.
George.
If you are a human being, you are highly intelligent, you are highly capable, you are highly adaptable, and you are very resourceful and very creative. You have to do the work to build your smartness. You have to do the
Hmm.
work to build your resourcefulness, your creativity. These are skills, man. You got to do the work to build them. And if you want to be confident, keep promises to yourself and keep promises to others and do the work you're going to say you're going to do. Watch how quickly your confidence grows when you do that.
Thank you again, George. We are on the end of our podcast today. You are watching Cancer
Thank you so much.
Conversations with Coach Wanda. I am with George today. He is a living testimonial of what's possible when you are authentic. You know,
Yeah.
ABC, I'll summarize it. If you're authentic, if you do behavior change, if you consistently put effort to really live that best version of yourself, then you can become unstoppable. Thank you, George,
Well, you're welcome,
again
Wanda. Thank you so
for
much for having me
joining
on the
us
show.
today.
I loved it.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
so much.
most welcome. Thank you to my team who's supporting us backstage and on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If you do want to watch the replay of this episode, the full episode it's available on our Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and later we're gonna put it on our YouTube podcast. Again, I would like to personally invite you on my upcoming Soul Branding with Coach Wanda. The workshop is happening on September 21. Please go to bit-ly Soul Branding with Coach Wanda to know more so we can help you craft your brand story, create your personal brand, and authentically express who you are. You know, as George was explaining, when you are not living your authentic truth, you can be sick. But when you do live your authentic life, you can be healed. So with that, I would like to thank you again for joining us today. Watch till the next episode of the Cancer Conversations podcast with Coach Wanda. We want to share insightful information, inspiring stories. If you want to be part of our podcast, please go to bit-ly podcast partner from, and we would love to have you on our show so we can together help people navigate the complex journey of cancer. Thank you, everybody, and God bless you.